Welcome. I'm Judy Copenbarger, and you're in the right place. Today, we're going to discuss everybody's most favorite topic ever, and that's taxes. Not convinced? Well, what if I told you that we're going to show you how to save on your federal income tax by owning a home? There are actually tips and tricks and things that you can do to increase the deductible expenses and decrease the tax bill, and we're going to go over that in just a minute. So, tax deductions for homeowners. Let's take a little time and discuss this to make sure you're minimizing the taxes you pay, maximizing the money you keep, and you do much better just by owning a house. Are you ready? Before we get into some specific activities that you can partake in when you're looking at your tax return, make sure you check out this other video on taxes. It'll help you know everything you need about your federal income tax. Now let's get started. So one of the first things on your tax return that Sam wants to know about you, and that's IRS, Uncle Sam, right? One of their first questions for you is, do you want to take itemized deductions or the standard deduction in this tax year? So you have a choice. So in the next few minutes, we're going to discuss how you'll know which is the best choice. So as an example, we've got Fred and Wilma. Fred and Wilma's last name is Rich. So let's suppose the Riches are filing their tax return and they're looking at this choice that you're considering. Do we itemize our expenses or do we take the standard deduction? If they take the standard deduction, for example, they might have $10,000 each that they cannot have to pay taxes on. Whereas if they itemized, they could add things like interest on their home that they pay, medical bills if they're high enough, and charitable deductions. So if we have in our example for Fred and Wilma Rich, $20,000 they don't have to pay tax on, or the itemized deduction, we just need to see which one is higher. If the itemized deductions is $30,000 because they made a generous contribution to their favorite charity, then we would want to take the itemized deduction rather than the standard deduction because there's $10,000 extra they get to keep without paying tax on it. However, if Fred and Wilma had an itemized deduction list that was only $5,000, they would want to take the standard deduction so they could write off, not pay tax, on the $20,000. In that year, that would be their best bet. So hopefully this sample gives you an example of how you can pay less tax by making the right choice in each tax year. The other thing to note is you don't have to make the same choice every single tax year. So each year you can look at your itemizations or your standard deduction and see which one's higher to give you less taxable income. Make sense? Okay, so you're a homeowner. How do we optimize the value of owning a home on your tax return? There are certain expenses that you can write off or deduct from your taxable income just because you're a homeowner. The first one that most people talk about is the interest that you pay on a mortgage. Not all of us are blessed enough to own a home without a mortgage. But the good thing about having one is you can at least deduct a portion, if not all, of the interest that you pay each year to the bank or credit union that loaned you the money. You can write off or deduct property taxes. And every year there's a certain amount that SAM, the government, allows us to pay without having to pay tax on that tax for our property. If you own a business, you might also be able to deduct some expenses of your office if it's in your home. And there are very strict rules about how much square footage you can use. It has to be sole use for that purpose, but there are some government benefits, tax benefits, to having an office in your home. Make sure if you're taking an office deduction from an office that's in your home that you know all the rules and you follow them closely. If you make improvements to your home based on a disability of someone who lives with you, there are credits and deductions that you may be able to take not only on your federal tax return, but maybe on your state tax return for making these improvements. You will also receive a benefit for making improvements that are not health related or disability related, and usually that shows up by a raise in basis of the value of your home. And that has to do with capital gains tax rather than federal income tax. But talk to your CPA or your tax preparer to make sure that you're getting all the rules down and taking advantage of all of these credits and deductions that might benefit you as a homeowner. If you happen to be a homeowner that had a requirement to have mortgage insurance, you can deduct a good portion of that mortgage insurance premium that you have to pay every year. So look into that. That might actually be a bunch of money sitting right there that you didn't know about. If you have a community or a county or a parish or a state that gives you a credit or a deduction for using solar energy or going green, take advantage of that. The federal government also right now has a credit for you if you put solar on your house where you can deduct almost all of that or take a credit against taxes owed, and it's a lot of money. So check it out. And in a lot of communities where they're going green, incidentally, there are free trees and free shrubs that you can get. In a lot of communities, there's no charge for them. Of course, you don't pay, so there's no tax deduction, but there might be a way to beautify your home without having to pay for it based on community efforts around you. If you recently bought a home or a condo or a residence of any kind, you can take the points. That's the cost of acquiring the loan that you borrowed against to buy your house. You can take the cost of that and write that off. It's totally deducted from your tax return and your taxable income. So a couple of tips for you. Make sure you don't try to go this alone. The online programs and the CDs that you put in your computer to do it yourself don't cover adequately all of these rules. The rules change and there's always a gap. When we have clients come into us and they've done it on their own, there almost always is something that they've missed, either didn't optimize or a mistake they made, which could be very costly down the road. So use a tax professional that knows how to work with these household expenses. Make sure you keep all your receipts and really good records so when you go into your tax professional, you're prepared and you're ready to optimize all those good rules that are there just for you. And don't wait till the end. The best tax professionals are not going to have time 2 days before the tax returns are due. So make sure you know when the tax returns are due. There are extension dates, there are basic preparation dates, and they're different from corporate dates. So there's a lot of times during the year that tax returns are due. Make sure you know the dates, work with a professional that can help you be on time so you don't have any costly penalties, and go into them prepared with all of your receipts. Just remember to do it early enough when you're not in line with 50,000 other people that are trying to get their things done last minute. So what's the most confusing part about taxes for you? What concerns you the most? What causes you the most anxiety? And where do you feel hung up in that spin every year when it comes to taxes? We'd like to hear about that. We'd like to help you. We'd like to start a conversation, find out from all of you what bothers you, so we can make sure you have the information you need to do better when you know better. Be sure to subscribe for regular videos to bring you all the information you know to make sure that your financial future is optimized. We want to make sure you're living your ideal life, paying less tax, having more money for the goals that you have to enhance the lives of you and your family. And think of the people in your life that could benefit from knowing this information. Be sure to share it with them. And if you notice this little bell, when you click the bell, you'll see the ringtones and the sound waves ring out. When that happens, you're automatically enrolled to receive notifications of every new video that comes out, so you can have all the information you need to do better in every area of finance for your life. So be sure to click on the bell right now. I'm waiting. Click the bell. Okay, good job. I'm Judy Copenbarger, and now that you know, you can go and grow. God bless.